Hello, my marvelous students, and welcome back to another math lesson video.
I want to just tell you this week will be our last week.
Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and do lesson number 7 for chapter 12, and this is three-dimensional figures. So we have three-dimensional figures, and if we are looking here at our page, which is 941, at the top, we have some key vocabulary. So we have a three-dimensional figure is highlighted in yellow. So everything is highlighted in yellow is your vocabulary terms for this lesson. Okay, you guys have learned about two-dimensional figure, which we're just having length and width. And if you remember, you were adding the length and width
To find the perimeter
and multiply the length and width to find the area. However, a three-dimensional figure has length, width, and height. So if you look at this three-dimensional figure, we have three different terms that are used to describe it. We have a face, which is a flat surface. So any flat surface is going to be considered a face, like this one. Then we have an edge. That is where two faces meet. So this would be an edge. And then we have a vertex, which is a point where three or more faces meet, almost like the corner over here. All right, so we have for the math in my word, as you can see here, we have a visual picture for a suitcase. So it says, describe the faces, edges, and vertices of the figure outlined on the luggage bag. Then identify the shape of the figure. I have sketched the suitcase for you over here so we can see easily the background of the suitcase and help us to count the edges and the vertices. So first we are looking for faces. If a face is a flat surface, the figure has blank faces. Each face appears to be a rectangle.
So if you imagine
a suitcase that you probably used before, I'm gonna pretend that is our suitcase. Okay, now let's count how many faces do I have in this suitcase. So this would be the front of our suitcase, number 1. And then we have the back of the suitcase, which is number 2. And then we have the left side, 3, right side, 4, the top, 5, and the bottom side, which is 6. So we have 6 faces. Each face appears to be a rectangle. Now edges, and edges are where two faces meet. So there are blank edges. The opposite edges are parallel and congruent. So let's count the edges that we have it here with different color. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I have 12 edges, right? So I can write 12 edges. And you can see the opposite edges are parallel and congruent. They have same length, and if you extend them all long way, they will never intersect. Next, we have vertices. The figure has blank vertices. So this is kind of like the corner. So let us count the corner or the vertices that we have it here. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I have 8 vertices. Now it says here, prisms are three-dimensional figures. A prism has at least three faces that are rectangles. The top and bottom faces, called the bases, are congruent parallel polygons. So if we look at this fake suitcase, our top and bottom would be considered our bases. So this would be considered a base and this would be considered a base. Now here, the figure above is a rectangle prism, even the suitcase. In a rectangle prism, the bases are congruent rectangles. A rectangle prism has 6 rectangular faces, which is what we got correct. Has a 12 edges, and we got that also correct, and has 8 vertices. So anything that in the shape of a suitcase, doesn't matter what the size it is, and it's a rectangular prism, it's going to have 6 rectangular faces, 12 edges, and 8 vertices. Alright, we are going ahead and move on because we have more three-dimensional figures to learn about. Next, we have our key concepts. So we just learned about our rectangular prisms. Now we have a triangular prism. So a triangle prism has a triangular basis. It has 5 faces, 9 edges, and 6 vertices. Let's count them. It says 5 faces. 1, 2, 3, 4, and the front, which is 5. Next, we have 9 edges. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And the last thing, we have 6 vertices. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Now a triangle prism
Has 5 faces, 9 edges, and 6 vertices. Now here we have our cube. Has 6 square faces, 12 edges, and 8 vertices. A cube is also called a square prism. So let's check how many faces do I have. 1, back 2, right 3, left 4, front 5, and then we have the bottom is 6. So top, bottom, right, left, front, back. We have 6 faces. And then we have how many edges? Let's count them. We have 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I have 12 edges, which is right. Now I have how many vertices? 8. Let's check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the cube has 6 faces, 12 edges, and 8 vertices. Okay? So our question here says describe the faces, edges, and vertices of the three-dimensional figure, then identify it. So just like we did on the front, which is the suitcase, we are going to do
something very similar.
okay, so now here we're looking for the faces. The figure has blank faces. So how many faces this figure have? Let's count them. We have 1, the top, the bottom 2, the back 3, and then we have 2 sides here, 4 and 5. So here we have 5 faces. Now we continue. The blank bases are congruent and parallel. So the bases are going to be the top and bottom. These are triangular faces. they are congruent and parallel. So here we have triangular. Triangular faces. Then we have the other faces are blank. To be side faces, which shape are they? They are, if you look over here, on the other side, we have kind of what? Rectangular faces. So here we have rectangular. Okay, all right, now we have talked about the faces. Now we are going to talk about edges. So we know this is a
triangular prism.
So there are blank edges. So how many edges are on a
triangular prism?
If we look at this chart that belongs to a
triangular prism,
it has how many? It has 9 edges. So you will write down here 9 edges. And then we have the edges that form the vertical sides of the rectangulars are parallel and congruent. So here we will write congruent. Are kind of like best friends. They usually go together. So they are parallel and congruent. As I told you, they have same length and they always going together. Whenever they run, they will never intersect. They always go beside each other. And the last thing here, we have our vertices. The figure has blank vertices. So the vertices is pretty much like corners. This figure, which is a triangle prism, as I told you, has how many vertices? So this figure has 6 vertices. So after we identify the faces, the edges, and the vertices of the figure, we can now recognize this figure as a triangular prism. So we done with this last example. We have it here in this lesson. So I think you are able to go ahead and do the independent practice by yourself, and I will see you tomorrow with a new lesson.